Hey everyone, hope you're doing well today. And as you can see, I'm in Betty Boop mode today. Boop boop bee doop. We are going out today to an antique store. I read in the paper that there is a local antique store that's closing, and a little backstory to this. I promise you it's not a little story from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I have another story though that I'm going to share with you about my trip already to this antique store. I had gone there because I had suddenly noticed this antique store had a closing sign on it, and when I pulled into the parking lot one day, I decided to go shopping there. It was really closed. There was nobody in there, no sign of life. But yesterday I was looking in our local paper and I happened to notice that there is an ad that they are having a sale there, and they have not much information in the ad. There was a little information about the time and the days that it's going to be open. They didn't say if it's just cash payments or if you can pay by credit card, so I'm gonna run and get a little cash. But what they did say is they have a lot of vintage clothes, which of course you know interests me fully. We're gonna go check it out, and we are excited for you to come along with us. I'm going with my daughter, who she and I afterwards are going to one of her favorite stores. There's her hand, Mandy, which is a store that some of you may not be familiar with, but if you're from the area that we are, it's a store that has been around for a while, a chain store. We're gonna head there after, but are you ready for an adventure? And you wanna step back in time and see what they've got? And I can't guarantee that we're going to find anything, but I thought it would be fun to check out. So come along, let's go. Hello, we just stopped to the Mac machine, so now we are on our way. See you there. Hey, so we made it here, and it is in fact open, and they have a sale sign up, so we're gonna take a look and see what they've got, and I'm very excited. We will keep you posted, and we are not going to do any kind of like major filming there. I don't know if we'll even have an opportunity to have the voiceover on while we're shopping, because it's possible that they have music in the background and we don't want a copyright strike. We're just going to film, and then we will do a voiceover along with it. See you there. Our first stop at the store was to this rack that was right outside the front of the store, where they had items there that were $1 a piece. I was looking at some of the items, and you can see me checking out the tags there, hoping to find something that was vintage. And on this side of the rack, I really didn't see anything that I really was interested in, at least not yet. I was curious about this red one though, and I did take it off the rack and look at the tag, but then I ended up putting it back. However, I was interested in this brown cardigan, and I was really curious about it. I wasn't able to find any labeling for it, but I wanted to take a chance because it was only $1 and I liked it. We kept looking on the racks, and I really didn't find anything that I was interested in. I did check out a few things, but most of the things were modern and really not what I was looking for. I did see this shirt. I spotted some things that had vintage appearances in a lot of spots, but they turned out to be modern items. So we went around to the other side of the rack and I started looking there. I did like this style, a little bit of those blouses that I was looking at. kept looking. And then I found these jeans. Now, you know my quest when I was at the Udelco warehouse for Jordache jeans. I happened to find a pair of Jordache jeans shorts here for $1. And they were a size large, so I decided to take them with me. And there was also this little skirt that was Mary Kate and Ashley, and I thought that was cute too for $1, so I grabbed that one. Next we went inside and up a very long flight of stairs to where all of the vintage clothes were. I wasn't expecting that it would be such an adventure. And we came into what seemed to be this big attic area, and we were in this large room up here that had all of these shoes. There were not many, but there were vintage shoes. Then after the shoes, we walked up another small flight of stairs and we were in what was like a huge closet. I would have never known all of these things were up here. Just tons and tons of clothes hanging from the ceiling on these racks. The first thing that caught my eye was this little teddy, if you'd call it that. However, it turned out to be, it was Vanity Fair, but it turned out to be modern because there was a website on the tag. I ended up not getting that, but there were so many hats to choose from and they were all very unique. This is interesting. These are like, the hats are unique. Let me look and see what they've got. Oh. I have a dress for this one. I think I would like this hat probably. Because this, I think, Birdie's dress that I've got. Except I don't know how to, in terms of, I like the hats, but I don't know how much she's charging for any of them. That's a problem because I have a very limited budget, you know, in terms of stuff. This is interesting too. Union made hat. That's cool. It's definitely got a neat vintage flair to it. This one's neat too. I mean, like, how do you choose? I guess we'll have to just see what my budget is and what I can afford. Another Union made hat. So, I guess I can always ask about them and see what she says. But I do like this little. Is this one brown or is that black? That's black. Alright, I'll check it out. We started looking at the very first rack on the far end and all of the dresses, and that's where I started to see even more of the vintage items, and they were blended in with some modern items, so it was a bit of a mix. This flowery dress was a bit intriguing to me, and I wondered if it was something like a Gunny Sacks dress from the 1980s, but it turned out not to be. Having grown up with the brand Gunny Sacks, I'm pretty amazed at how the prices are now for a Gunny Sacks dress at auction. It's pretty surprising, in fact. Some of the dresses from the 80s and some of the fashions from the 80s are more expensive than fashions from earlier times, like the 40s. Not like super 50s. Duper vintage, but some of it is. Like, this is definitely vintage. That blue dress was something that was very intriguing to me, because you'll see that I explore other dresses on the rack and then I return to it. It was one that it haunted me, that I regretted not seeing, and you'll see this that later. Here. It's like a 1960s style to it. Next to Alexander's. This might be. This says it was $150. Oh, yeah, that's a lot. It's very warm up here. I don't know what the prices are. You can hear some of my dialogue with my daughter. We were first talking about the prices because I kept saying I don't know what the prices are here, but we were also discussing the heat because it was fairly warm up there. So there were some factors there that was determining what I was going to purchase. And that blue dress was one that was on my radar, but I really loved the hats. So I was picking and choosing, which was really, really hard. I ended up going to the jeans and was looking to see if I might find anything Jordache, and you could see me checking the labels. I am determined to get myself a pair of Jordache jeans with the horse on it at some point. I had a pair when I was very young, that Gloria Vanderbilt, the Sasson jeans, so I'm definitely determined to get another pair as a grown-up. Next rack that we migrated to were the pajamas, and I was really intrigued with this quilted robe. I thought that it looked very vintage. I don't think it's as vintage as I had initially thought it was. And see, I picked up the tag, which I note later in my haul, but I don't think I was really paying attention to it that much while I was looking. I was more interested in the tags inside of the robe and checking those out. And again, it was getting hot in there. It was probably at least 90 degrees in that attic. And my daughter, she was starting to melt like she does, like she did at the Udelco store. It was really, really warm. But I kept looking at the nightgowns and at bathrobes. You can see she's helping me here, but she was starting to wilt. I think I was really hoping that I would find something super rare, kind of like my grandmother's nightgown and her bathrobe. And trust me, I'm very happy that I found the two robes and the nightgown that I did, but they're definitely not as old as my grandmother's. What we were finding is that there were a lot of things when we checked the tags that they had a vintage appearance, but they really turned out to be retro and they were not vintage at all. Like I said in past videos, a lot of the vintage clothes mainly were made in the United States, and a lot of these were not. You could definitely tell when they're not vintage. However, at the same time, I'd find something super cute, like I love this blouse, but it turned out to be Juicy Couture, not vintage at all. You can see how sweaty my poor daughter was in that last frame, and she was getting uncomfortable as I continued to look at pajamas, and she really wanted to go, and eventually she took the keys, much like what we had dealt with when we were at the Udelco. She just felt it would be more comfortable out in the car and let me do my browsing on my own. This is a flashback to Udelco and what we went through. Trust me, I don't blame her. If I wasn't on a mission to find things, I probably would have wanted to get out of this attic sooner, but I really didn't want to miss anything here. And I kept gravitating back toward this dress too, but I had one that in my past that was similar looking to that, so I decided to stay away from it and wanted to look at other things. It was a bit of a solitary experience because it was just me up in this attic looking at these things, and I missed having my daughter there because I really appreciated the company, but I wanted to keep looking because I felt like I wouldn't get many opportunities to do this and to look through these items. And there were a lot of beautiful items that I'd seen and so many clothes. I just felt like it was something, an opportunity that I wouldn't get again because of course it was limited as to the time frame that her store would be open, but to be able to look at things like this by myself, all of these clothes, was actually kind of cool. There were some foreign outfits that were there, which were kind of neat, but that wasn't what I was looking for, but it was cool that they were there. I ended up just going through racks and racks of jackets and different things there. That one, it said Studio 1940, but that's a modern brand. So definitely not vintage in some of these things, but I kept looking because that's what it was about, and I felt like I would see some vintage in this section, which it turned out I did. There were hats and furs. There were these animal furs here, and I actually have one of those that I'd gotten from the church rummage sale when I was a teenager. Now, it's not something I wear. In fact, it's in a storage tub at this stage somewhere in all of my stuff, but it was something that at that time I thought was unique and I needed to grab. Some Lee jeans and some other jeans that were there. I didn't realize I was actually kind of approaching the men's section, so some of these things, it appeared like men's and women's mixed together in this one section. Here I was approaching more jackets, different jackets and coats, and I thought maybe I might see something there, but I do have a lot of coats and I do have some vintage ones. There was one that was interesting to me there, but I felt like I really had things that were similar and I wasn't sure of the age. And again, my budget, that kept speaking to me. Thankfully, I had that little angel on my shoulder that kept tapping me and telling me that I had to watch my pennies while I was there. Now, I went to this section here and I realized that this jacket was definitely a vintage jacket, but until I really walked around, I didn't realize that I was in the men's section there and that these were men's items. So they were, yeah, the jeans, not my size because they would have been gentlemen's. So that would definitely not be my size. But I decided, okay, I'm gonna go steer myself to another aisle. Although I did check out some of the men's stuff because I may have mentioned already that I have a Poshmark account, and so I was looking at some of the things. Like I was checking these out first. There were some stockings, but I was looking at the ties to see if there would be anything there because I have had some men's vintage silk ties listed. Decided to give another pass to this rack, and I'm very glad that I did because I had missed some sweaters, including this beauty on my first round, and I collect vintage sweaters. So this one and the tag I knew right away, and also because of the style that this was vintage and that I needed to take this one with me. I kept checking around and decided, let me look back again on this rack, and started looking in the jackets and the sweaters again, thinking maybe there will be something else here waiting for me. And there's that one of the coats. There were a couple of them that I was interested in. I do like that yellow color, and I felt that was a really pretty coat. I decided to give another look at that sweater, and I was wowed and just very excited by what I found. Looked like some kids things were mixed in here too. Among that, there were all sorts of things here. Actually, I was intrigued with this item, and I pulled it off the rack because it was Sassoon, and I wanted to show anybody who was interested in watching what something with Sassoon might look like. And I was hoping and was excited and hoping it would be my size, but it turned out not to be, which is why I put it back on the rack. Oh, come on, get back on there. I guess I was talking to something that fell off the hanger and decided to put it back up there. And it was just me, myself, and I up there. So I was talking to the clothes, I guess, a little bit. But I found this piece and I was interested in that, but I ended up not getting it because the label, I realized it was a modern piece, and back you go. That was one that I definitely told to get back on the rack. You can see how sweltering I was feeling and looking a little sweaty up there. It was definitely warm and getting to me. But I did have the good fortune with all of my search up there to find a cashmere sweater from Scotland. And this one was another one that I took with me and took off the rack. So it was worth every little bit of sweat. No tears, just sweat. I made another pass at all of these items because I just didn't want to miss anything, and you can see just how immense it was. It really didn't look as big as it actually was, but I had a lot of aisles to go down, and so you can see I made my way back here and I was looking at the pajamas and just didn't want to miss anything. There was a blue nightgown that I ended up being interested in that was a vintage nightgown, and I did come back the next day and considered getting it, but it ended up being not my size. Oh, and this particular brand I had gotten at Goodwill. I'd gotten brand new with tag, and it's called Character. It is one that's supposed to be vintage, and there's that other blue nightgown that I considered, and I came back for the next day. But the Character brand I keep seeing as vintage. It's made in the Dominican Republic, but I think if it's anything, it's like a later vintage. And I went back to look at the hats again and check all of these beautiful hats out and made my final choices there because there were just so many. And I love that little brown one. You can see the hats. I thought I would just take them down and have her look at them and tell me how much she wanted for them. I was very interested in the veiled ones. So I made it out of there, everybody. A little sweatier. We're gonna go get something to drink and we will show you the haul after Mandy. Bye. Very excited about what I got. Can't wait to show you. Hello, I am back from my haul. I ended up with a few great hats. I'll tell you a little bit more about them and a couple of other things. So I'll show you what I got exactly during this haul in just a minute. Stay tuned. This is the first stop on my haul here, and this is a sweater that I picked up. I was giving one last pass through when I found this sweater. This is really gorgeous. Unfortunately, and I did not see that because of course it was first of all hot, but it was also the lighting wasn't great. There's a lot of staining, but it's still absolutely gorgeous. I put it on my own hanger because it was given to me on the hanger that it came on, which was this pink hanger. It turns out the store owner was retiring, which is why the store is closing. That's what I was told when I went downstairs to take care of everything. My total haul ended up being $40. I was actually really shocked by that price because the hats I was expecting to pay a lot more for, and I did not. So I may go back and get a couple of hats. I'll see. Apparently they're going to be open another day, and because the owner has moved out of the area now and is no longer there. But you can see, look at this gorgeous detail on here. You can see this with the beading and rhinestones, and the little satin flowers, and the satin ribbon here, and the gorgeous buttons. The back even has beautiful detail, but I got this. Look at that. It's absolutely spectacular. I collect cashmere sweaters. I think I may have mentioned that before. But this is what it was priced at, which is, for me, I have paid way less when I've gotten cashmere sweaters. Every vendor is different, but this is what it was originally charged for. And I ended up paying way less. But this is the, you can see the old label here. Beautiful. Super Silk Orlan. I believe it's got cashmere in it though. That is a cashmere style, and you can see it's all hand sewn. I'm just in awe of this. Here is number 2 sweater that I got from upstairs, and I ended up paying about $4 for it as well. I'm not sure what the original price tag was on this because I did not see it. Really, we were told go upstairs and we'll sort everything out later. I was very surprised at how inexpensive the vintage items were going for, although the shoes I would imagine would be much more. And I would have loved to have gotten a pair of the shoes, but they were way too small for my feet. And the ones that I did see were a little bit more expensive than I was ready to pay. But this is, you can see, made in Scotland. This rang to my heart. This called to my heart. It's cashmere. You can see cashmere. 100% pure, made in Scotland. Scotland is dear to my heart because that's where my nana was from. 100% cashmere. It says 2 here for the size. I believe, obviously, this is a modern, more modern, I don't know its age. It was up with the vintage stuff, which I found a lot of modern stuff was mixed in with the vintage. That the old tags did not have care instructions on them. Hello there. That's my cat bed. You did not see that on that other sweater that it had care on it, the blue one that I showed you. You typically will not see that until you get clothes that are in the 70s range. 1970s is when they started putting care instructions into clothes. I'll turn this around. Not really too much interesting stuff on the back, but I love this sweater. I've got to start wearing my cashmere instead of just keeping it stored. Hello. You want to say hello? And then there's Achilles. Come here, Achilles. And there's Achilles. He's checking out the hall too. Hello, Achilles. What are you doing? They both want to go in my son's room and then tackle each other. You'll notice with each of these I have different colored hangers. I had gotten these on eBay and Mercari because I thought since I am looking to sell some things online, that it would look nice to have them accented with a satin hanger. I think they always look beautiful. And this sweater was on the $1 rack when we first arrived. There's no information about this sweater in terms of a maker, material. It feels like an acrylic. Nothing super spectacular, but I felt for myself, because I like to wear sweaters with outfits that I have on, like a sweater or a blazer. That's typically what I will wear to work. I thought it was well worth that $1. Why I got it. This is one of the vintage pajama pieces that I had purchased, and I thought it was well worth it to me because I really don't have much vintage stuff in terms of bathrobes. As you know, I have the one bathrobe that belonged to my grandmother that is probably from the 1940s or so. Between 40s or 60s, I don't know the exact date for it. I have to look that up. But I wanted something else for myself. I also have that one robe of hers from the 80s. This, well, it's got an old, and I just noticed that, Hanes tag. It still has a hang tag on it. You can see the brand is Miss Elaine. It is vintage though, because it was made in the USA by it's a union made product. They have the workers union here. Hello, Mr. Ben. That is true that it's had to be made at least after the 70s. I'm thinking possibly the 80s because of the care tag on it. It was a size small, but I thought it was so cute with the quilting and this pretty ruffle and the little ties here somewhere. And I ended up paying $8 for that. This one is a mystery to me, but I thought it was beautiful, and because she set her own price and she charged $8 for the other one, she asked me if I'd be willing to pay $8 for this one, and I agreed. This one, I believe, may be homemade. If not homemade, handcrafted might be a better word, that it was made by hand. This is a two-piece set though. It's made out of a sheer material. I'm not sure what, but it's not silk. It has a lining in there that somebody sewed into it. It's very nicely done. Beautiful sleeves here and collar. You turn it over. I love the print. I thought it was really pretty. I don't know its age. I do love the style of it, and it's got a very cute, and I found nothing in terms of tags with this too. Very cute nightie that was with it. The nightie is more sheer. There we go. Look, it's pretty though. It's got nice edging there. Little tie. So either this is nicely handmade or this is from a store and the tags are just missing. But it's, I don't know if this would be considered like a chiffon material maybe. I'm not really sure. There's the back. I just was impressed by it and I thought I would like to have it. And for that price, I don't think I went wrong. Remember how excited I got about seeing Jordache jeans when I was at that vintage warehouse? Well, I didn't find jeans per se upstairs, but I did find shorts. And I tend to think that these could very well be 80s, 90s because they are made in the USA. You can see the tag here. It's a little wrinkled. This was on the dollar rack, which is even more exciting. Made in the USA. It's not even in a foreign language too, which sometimes it'll be in Spanish and in English these days, which is why I'm thinking, you know, and I think, I'm not sure when that started happening. I have to look that up. But it's just made in the USA. And I was very excited to see that because Jordache is a brand I remember as a young person, or less vintage, as I should say. And this makes me think this type of denim that it could be circa 80s, because that sort of was, you know, the pattern denim was a thing then. And it was large, and I said, you know what, you're coming home with me then. It's got some little cut off there. I don't know if they were jeans that somebody ended up cutting into shorts, or if they were just shorts like that. But regardless, I decided it was worth taking home, especially for $1. This caught my attention because I know you know already that I like blingy stuff. I love this little button on there, but it turned out to be a child's skirt. However, I thought it was beautifully made. It's Mary-Kate and Ashley brand, which will know them, the twins. It's not like vintage, but it could be vintage. I have to do a little more research into this, but since I do have a Poshmark account, and considering sticking my toe into the reselling, and have done so slightly, as I mentioned in my other videos, I've done a little bit before. I thought that this was worth that. I thought it was really adorable. It's denim and it's in gorgeous shape. It's got all these little rhinestones on it, and it's got a beautiful a couple little spots there, but it's got really a beautiful little velvet ribbon along it, and I thought that was just really a cool piece. As far as I am concerned, this is where we get to the good stuff. Now, you had seen a feather hat most likely when I was going through there, and I would have loved to have taken that, but I do have the cats and they do love feathers. I keep my hats right now, and I need a hat box because I have them in an alternate box accommodation, but I would like a nice hat box in my closet. But this one I thought was absolutely beautiful, and I couldn't decide, and then when she offered me all the hats for $10, I felt like I couldn't resist that price. Still has some of these bobby pins in it, but you can see there is a union mead tag here, which leads me to believe, obviously, that this is an older hat. It is made of straw, beautifully straw woven hat with a little velvet ribbon on the back, and it's got this lovely netting. Here we are, wearing the hat. I think it's super cool. I have a hat that I still have to try to find in that hot mess in my basement that I've told you about before. And I have a storage tub that has some vintage clothes in it. And when I can find those, I will definitely show them off. But this one gorgeous hat that I'd gotten years ago at the church rummage sale, that's a pink hat, and it's just absolutely, it's hard to describe. I can't wait to find it again. I miss it. I'm looking forward to it. I think even in that container, like I mentioned, there is that fur that we had seen, and not that I am happy about that, but I thought it was like the wildest thing when I was young, and I picked it up, and that's probably in that container too. Here is the second hat, and this is also a veiled hat. Most of my hats that I do currently own don't have veils on them, and I wanted some. I do have a hat within all that stuff that belonged to my great-grandmother that's also in that storage container. As you know, as I've mentioned before, I had moved a bit in the past few years, and so I had things in storage. I had them in the tubs, and I can't wait to get them back and then show them off. But let me take this off here, give you a look. You can see this has like a pin that has this little netting pinned in there. And what really fascinated me, and I will look this up, is this is from a store called Mears that is in East Orange, New Jersey, which is about maybe like an hour from here. I gotta watch this because I will hurt myself on that pin. Hopefully I've got this on the right way. I'm assuming with the tag in the back, likely that is how it goes. See, you can see my face is really shiny. Being in a hot attic helps to get the natural glow going. Here, let's If it isn't on the right way, but I'm assuming it is. Turn it, yeah, no. Yeah, I think it has to go the other way. Here we go. It's a very glamorous hat. But since it's a Jersey hat and I am a vintage Jersey girl, I thought you need to come home with me. Then there was this darling piece that I just thought would go nicely with an outfit that I have. It's a 1920s, 1930s dress that it comes basically in this color. I was looking for a nice little hat to go with it. No tags or anything, but definitely it's vintage. You can see this one has a little pin through it there, and ooh, nice hand. A nice cat meowing, as usual. I thought that this was really sweet, and it's going to look adorable with that 1930s dress. I don't know if the kitty agrees. Last but not least, collector spoons. I ended up with 4 collector spoons. I had gotten change from her for $4 that I'd gotten from her, and I saw these spoons because I do have some spoon cabinets that also need to get hung up. I saw these, and I saw this spoon from the Tower of London, and I ended up getting a few more. I gave her back her change, essentially. They were $1 each. This one is from Lake George, which I'd taken a trip 2 years ago, and I don't remember if I'd gotten a collector's spoon from there. I don't believe I did. And this one with Hollywood. Yeah, I had to have this one. When I saw it, that's how I ended up basically returning her change to her. And this one is in honor of, we have some Missouri friends, my daughter's friends that are watching. I had seen this and I thought I would like to grab this, but also my son had been stationed in Missouri. He's a National Guardsman as well as a college student, and when he was in the National Guard, he was at Fort Leonard Wood. So I tried to look for a collector's spoon when I was on the base there, and I did not locate one. And now I have one, and for $1. Bonjour, mes amours. Hello, I am back. Just when you thought you weren't going to see me again, I decided to take a step back in time and go back to that same vintage store to pick up some more hats. And I found this beautiful beret. I can show you some of the cool stuff that I picked up on this second round. I decided after my daughter and I went to brunch with my friend, I decided to take a trip back because I couldn't pass up those hats. There are still some things there that I may go back for, but I was limited to the cash that I had. But I did find some more cool things that I would love to show you, and we will take it upstairs again. You had a chance to see my beret on my head downstairs, and now I will show it to you up here. And I did not notice this and some other hats yesterday when I was there because they were hidden, I think, under other hats. And she told me that she had rearranged her hats, so it was good. I was able to see some things that I hadn't seen before. I love the construction inside of this. You can see it's a velvet, kind of like a brown terracotta hat. It's got some mint on it, but there's not much identifying it in terms of a tag. It's got this 22 on it. It could be the size, but you know, and again, the vintage sizing, I'm not sure of, but I just love this hat. I do have a collection of berets, and I speak French, by the way, which probably you can hear a little bit in the accent there. That was something I studied in school growing up. This is definitely a deja vu thing here, mister. You want to go in there? Let's see, this is me today. I'm dressed a bit differently than I was yesterday. And here comes Achilles again. Are you gonna attack him again like you did yesterday? Or are you just gonna hang out here, Bella? Huh? Yeah, they love my son's room. And since he's away, they like to just hang out. They want to go in there, but oh, who can resist that? All right, we're gonna get back to showing hats though. This is hat number 2, and I didn't notice this one either yesterday. I think some of these brown hats were hidden underneath another taller one, but this is beautiful with the ribbons here. I love this. And this may even go just as well with this dress I have, which I'm not going to show you at this point. I will save it for another video, but there's a lot of lint that landed on these hats. I'm gonna need to get a lint roller. And we look and see. This also has a 22 here. I'm not sure what that is. If that's the size, the hat size, I'm not sure. But I'm assuming it's the same maker, perhaps. This is a lovely hat. Here I am. I think this goes lovely with red hair, too, if you ask me. I really like the appearance, but I have it on backwards. Doesn't help. You can see ribbon should likely be in the front. I don't know. I think it looks nicer off to the side, and when I do see this on old pictures, usually I think they had it more off to the side. It made me sad to leave this hat behind yesterday, and again, I didn't know her prices, and when I went back today, I said, hey, I'm back because I wanted to come back and get some hats. And so I did buy 4 hats, and she charged me the same price, $10. I know it was a little cheaper yesterday, but that doesn't bother me. I thought this hat was really adorable, and I just couldn't resist it, and I'm so glad it was there. And so I will model this one for you. I love this with the lace on there, and then it's just sweet with the little bow. I tend to think that this goes in the back like this. I don't know if it's visible with me because I can't turn my head around. Let's see if I can aim from behind. Ah! I definitely need some bobby pins for this one. That is precious. We'll try this. And that hand is in the way, sorry. Rather than being a contortionist, I'm giving you a glance here in the hat here so you can see a little bit how it looks from the back. It's so pretty. I love it. I looked at the feather hats closely, and I really think it's more age. I'm just kind of being cheeky when I'm suggesting that possibly, I'm just being funny. Just suggesting possibly that they had a cat tearing at it, but maybe they did, who knows. I think it's more age though that the feathers were wearing off, but this has a feather-like look, and it's silk flowers, I think. A little satin here. I thought this was cute. I didn't see this one yesterday, but maybe I just missed it. In being hot and being up in an attic by myself, that's highly possible. I'm wearing this hat now. This is the last of the 4 hats that I picked up today. And I just love how it feels on my head. It seems like it wants to just stay in place on its own. I think it just looks really pretty with the hair. It's just a real striking appearance here. And I love this style hat. I'm looking forward to wearing it. Now, when I went back in, like I mentioned, I don't carry a lot of cash on me, but I went back in with $20 that I had taken out yesterday, and the lady had said to me, well, how much do you have? Because I found some things, some books and other things that I didn't get to look at yesterday. There were so many cool things, just different vintage shoes and other things that I would have loved to have picked up if I had more cash on me, but I did not. And I also do have to watch my budget. But I thought this purse was really cute, and she gave this all to me for what I had. Let me show you. really beautiful purse. It's got a tapestry on it. And originally she said there was something wrong with it and then said no. Well, I do see that it's got like a little decorative item that's missing from it, but otherwise it's really cool. I will be back though, most likely. She said that she won't be here next weekend, but will be another weekend, and then she's done. I'm gonna see what I can find. It would be cool to take these over to the catwalk, and these were on a table that I was sitting at. I decided to take this over to the catwalk because I felt this would be a better place to display this. And these were priced originally at $2 each. However, with basically making me a deal and just giving me what I took, I think she could tell I really loved all of these items, and so she just wanted to give me whatever the price was. This is Revlon lip color, $5.74, and I have to look it up. There is no lipstick in here. The case though was just totally cool and beautiful. Let's see. This though is very unique to me. This still has product in it. I have some old, at some point we'll do something with product, and I don't know if we can zoom in on this and it'll help. This will make it worse. I'm trying with my magnifying glass. And maybe it's just easier with the camera. This is Beauty Counselor. This is what we've got. It's got a very perfumey scent to it. Right? This to me almost seems like a highlighter or concealer, or maybe it is like kind of a gold lipstick. I don't know. It's thinner though than the average lipstick. You can see the appearance of it. It's very scented. At some point I'll do a video with some vintage makeup swatching. We can always save it for that too. Just a little follow-up. I did some research into this lipstick case, thinking this might be a color, this number 574, but it appears what I'm seeing online, this is an actual empty case. Now, this is something that we as a society have gotten used to lipsticks being in their own case and then being tossed out afterwards, but it appears to me, and I've got to learn more about this, that they were put inside of this. It's like a lipstick holder, which is a great idea, I think. And so that's really smart and more environmentally friendly. Something maybe we should strive to return to in this era. So I am super pumped about this. Beauty Counselor appears to be a brand. They were direct sellers that would come, or sellers that would come to your home and sell makeup, kind of like I did with Mary Kay. And of course Avon, which I have that other video that I've done with the Avon rep. So this is a super exciting find for me. And it turns out in my search on WorthPoint, and which I don't have an account for, but I was able to do a preliminary search on eBay and just overall on Google. White Gold is a fragrance of theirs. So this is a fragrance stick, not a lipstick. That's why I smell a lot of fragrance. That would be really rough on your skin if this was like a highlighter or something. So I learned something super new, which is helpful for me because I am doing research into vintage beauty as well right now. I'm really excited about this find. Both of these finds are really super cool and a blast from the past and a step back in time for sure. Among the things that I picked up, I couldn't resist this. This is from the 70s and I thought it was totally cool. I have fond memories of my going shopping with my father when my parents first got divorced, which is not a fond memory. But I went with my father to the Sears appliance store, which was in town, and we picked up a huge microwave. It was much different having a microwave, but he had recipe cards for his microwave, and I should ask him if he still has those. But this is a recipe book, and I've already seen some recipes in here that we're gonna try in a future video, and I'm not gonna spoil that now because there's some really funky stuff. But I'll just give you that little spoiler to stay tuned for that. Since I'm a fan of Princess Diana's and we'll cover her on another video, this is a collector's edition. It's not in the best of shape, but I couldn't pass it up just because it was Diana. And it does have a person's, it's January 1998. It does have a person's address there, so I'm not gonna show the whole magazine. Now, I'm a fan of JFK Jr. and have been since I was a teenager. I don't know if I'm the only girl in the United States who had a picture of him in her locker, but one of my bucket list items would be to get another copy of the People magazine when he was the sexiest man alive, because I took that and I had it hanging in my locker because I just thought he was just so beautiful. And I still remember the day that he died, and this could be something that we'll talk about on this channel as well. Another spoiler, sorry. But I found these 3 magazines, and they were among my purchases today. Love that man. Last but not least, 2 photo albums. I'm not going to say what's in them because I don't want to spoil it. But we'll check these out sometime on here too. That's it, folks. Until the next time, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm looking forward to more vintage adventures with you the next time. Bye-bye. And this timeless thing is so sweet. It fits me too. Yay! And the sweater fits too. But I promise you I won't wear it with the pajamas that I'm wearing underneath, and I will remember to take off the price tag.